Alright YouTube, so welcome to the next installment in the front end refurb. In this episode I shall be removing the WISHBONE bushes and installing some PowerFlex bushes. Can't be that difficult, can it? Muppet. Right, so time to take the, I don't know what they call them actually, on the BMWs they call them lollipop bushes, but it's the bush that's in the housing at the rear of the front control arms. So see the concentration there, trying to figure out. So I thought that they would just slide off like the BMW ones I've done before. But no, they really don't want to slide off. So I'm talking about these. So yeah, I've tried to pull them off, but they ain't coming off. So I've asked a few people on some of the forums for lots of variety of ideas. The first one, and probably the most sensible one, was press the bush off. So I haven't got a press, so I've created this ingenious contraption. It's only possible if you've got a doorway that you don't mind using. So as we know, the hub's still attached to this end of the control arm. So what I've done is I've got two pieces of wood about the same length. So those pieces of wood are going to be longer than the control arm. So you can see the control arm finishes before the door frame. So I've got them pressed at either side of the bush carrier. And then what I've done is I've just used various bits of wood to get my Honda jack so it lines up with the end of the control arm. So I didn't start filming because I didn't think it would actually work, but what I did, I started with a little like 7/16, what is that, a 13mm I think, and I've just got like a piece of rubber just to try and stop it sliding. But I didn't even need to use a tool to wind this up. I could just do it with my hand, so the other hand could hold the socket still, try and stop it sliding. I find if you use the little one, the little socket, if I can show you on this one, because you've got two little ridges on the end of this, so one of the little ones just goes over one of the ridges. Seems to kind of, if you're trying to do a big one, it's trying to slide off the end of the control arm. So if you use the small one, you can sort of hold it on with one of these little ridges. So I started with a small one, got it as far as I could go until the jack was hitting the bush carrier. Now I've gone for a deep socket, 13mm. I thought I'd better start filming because it was actually working. So I don't know whether you can see, let me grab a torch. Control arm starting to come out. See the nice clean bit at the end. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bob's your uncle. Right, so I'm all about making things a bit easier. So I've marked, it's probably obvious, but which way it goes onto the control arm. I'll just put a little plus symbol on this one because I can't be trusted to put left and right on them because I get back to front. So yeah, we've got our plus corresponds with a plus and the arrows in the same direction. So hopefully even a numpty like me is going to put it on the right way around. So while I think about it, I ordered two of these. It's like a Perspex disc from eBay. So you can get loads of different, I think it's clear, but it's got some white cover on it, but that's beside the point. Anyway, you can order 85, yeah, you can order 85mm Perspex discs, because I wanted to cover this up to stop crap getting in. Now I can't get it all the way in, it's like fraction of a millimeter too big. This side's all flush, just this bottom bit I can't get in, but I think I've wedged it in pretty well, so it's staying put. So that was fine. I mean, I could try and skim a bit off this, but I mean, it's really snug, so that's all right. Now I couldn't get So the other side is 57mm. That's to sit it right on the biggest diameter, because there's several steps in there. So the best I could get were these. So these are 57mm. They're kind of rubbery, which isn't ideal. I just tried one the other side. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to stay where it is. So that may be okay. Again, to stop crap getting in that side. It might fall out that one, but at the moment it's alright. It's tricky because it's a 57's a bit of a weird size to get as a Perspex disc. They tend to go up in 5mm or 10mm diameters. Right, today's job is to get the bushes out and try and get the PowerFlex ones in. So I thought, for some reason, I thought this would be an easy one as well. I'd just use my my bush press tool, which is this thing. Every time I tried it, it just would not stay straight. It just started twisting. It's such a fine. The edge of the bush you're trying to press out is so fine, it just would not stay straight on it. It just kept twisting. So as you can probably guess, the bush removal tool gave up on that and resorted to power tools. Right, so if you're going down the same route as me, you obviously don't need to worry about removing that lip because you're not going to be pressing it out. So what I did, as you could see, is get my reciprocating saw, put a metal blade on the end, and then just cut two lines so I could remove like a quarter of this core. So you can see what that's made up of. It's got a thin, probably 2.5mm. So when you've cut those two lines, it's still connected to the bush by this bit here, which is that bit. So what I did was just get a chisel, a nice sharp wood chisel, and just sort of break my way through that. So yeah, once this is removed, I then got my reciprocating saw and did a very quick cut, because I think this is actually plastic, this outer bit, so you don't need much at all to cut through that. So I didn't cut all the way through because I was scared of cutting the housing, so I just put a little cut in it, and then I just put a screwdriver down the side, as you can see on the other side, and it just sort of snaps away. As you can see, I've removed all the internal bits. I just did another quick slice or two. Definitely recommend, if you can sharpen your chisel. Luckily I've got one of these. As soon as you sharpen your chisel, it just slides through really easy. Just watch your fingers, obviously. And I've broken through the whole plastic liner now. So I'm gonna try and peel that away and remove that. It's a bit of a nightmare, but I don't know what else you can do really. Maybe burn it out. I think some people burn it out, but is that just going to be more of a pain in the ass? It wasn't too bad once I sort of figured out how to do it. I reckon the second one will be quicker, although I've just tempted fate. Ta-da! So I've marked it a little bit from getting the screwdriver in, but there we are. It's nothing too major. To give these a good tidy up before I put the PowerFlex ones in. So I've done the other little bugger now. Probably took 15 minutes. Now I sort of knew what I was doing. There she is. Again, just need to clean that up a bit. There you go. I left about a third of the inner tube behind this time, just to make it a bit quicker. Yeah, same technique. Just had to chop through the rim on this one, which I'd broken off on the other one at the end. These are the tools I used, which made it sort of bearable. I've got a hammer, doesn't have to be a sledgehammer. I started using these pry bars to try and break it up they were quite useful. And I've got 3 different size decent screwdrivers that aren't going to bend or snap, and ones that you can smack with a hammer. And this chisel was pretty useful for breaking the rubbery bits away. I had to sharpen it a couple of times, but it just works so much easier, as you'd expect. And then just, yeah, this reciprocating saw, I only used 1 blade, so those are those 2 done. The next one, hopefully the bush removal tool, so I need to do those bushes over there somewhere, which are the ones that go there. So hopefully the hopefully the press thing will work, otherwise otherwise I'm going to cry. Oh, one other thing, I mean, luckily I've got this extraction fan, because yeah, cutting through the rubber with that reciprocating saw does let off some nasty burning rubber fumes, so we'll probably want to do this somewhere very well ventilated. Right, so I've just started doing the other bush. So I've gone for my thinnest threaded bar, not sure what that is, maybe 10mm in this pack, with 4 different diameter rods. So I've had to go for the smallest one which fits through, and as you can see, possibly, we've got a outside diameter 58 and inside diameter 48 on this side, and then over this side I have a 21mm socket, sort of back to front, so the hexagon side is on this side, the right size for this to slot into. So I've just started turning it. It looks like it's unwinding because you've got a little gap there you can look through. Right, so I've changed slightly now. I've got a slimmer deep socket, which is slim enough to go into the rubber there and push the metal bit through. And then I've got my 21mm again. So yeah, that seems to be working. Feels like, I'm just going to loosen it up because it feels like it's popped out the other side. Hopefully this isn't stuck inside the bush. It wouldn't be the first time. So you probably want to go slightly smaller than the metal thing you're pushing out, so it doesn't just get stuck inside the rubber bush. Let's wind it out and have a little look. This is what I meant about having the 21mm socket back to front, because that bit needs to fit into something so the bearings can spin as you tighten it up. Now it looks, we seem to do this cylinder doesn't want to come off. It's weird because it slid on fine. So I need to try and get this off. Let's try and mallet. I see. That's because this metal bit here, that's the bit that got stuck inside the cylinder. So I'm going to have to go one size up actually and continue pressing this out. Right, I went for a 62, it's a bit shiny, so that's 62 outside diameter, 52 inside diameter. That worked a treat. Where is it? There we go. So that's just pressed that section out. You still have the little rubber bit remaining over there, which hopefully I'll just better tap out. Once I got my sizes right, that was a lot easier than the other bush. So this is the last section to come out from just here. It was pretty seized in place. Just came in from the opposite end, just whacked it with a hammer. I did the other side in about 3 minutes. There's the main bit, and then the other bit that you have to ping off with a screwdriver. It's amazing how quick some things are when you know what you're doing. Giving the bolts and nuts a good old clean. Here's some I made earlier. So they're looking a bit better. With the old Vapor rust. Yeah, it works pretty well. Just tend to leave them soaking for a few days. I mean, they weren't massively grubby, but yeah, they look alright. So I've got an hour to kill on a Sunday evening, just in between the races on the touring cars. So I thought I'd come and spend a cheeky hour wire brushing hubs. God, what an exciting life I live. So yeah, I've got these little perspex things in, so hopefully that'll protect the inside there. So only really it's just this really. And then the other side, you know, if I can get down the side a bit there and wire brush a bit of that. And then put some rust treatment on them and spray them black, I guess. I decided these discs are a bit too floppy, so I just super glued a cardboard back to it and just cut around that. They're quite rigid now, so I shall stick them in the other side of the hubs. Alright, 40 minutes later and I've got my sweat on. So I think I've done as much wire brushing and filing as I'm going to do on this side. Once I've done this side, I'll be turning it over and doing the other side, but there we are. It looks better to me. I mean, I've been using a whole array of tools, like a really stiff wire brush, a bit of a softer one, like a sort of semicircle file, like a sort of cylinder file. So a little tiny brush and more little tiny files, more brushes. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm not sure how it's going to show up on camera, but it's loads better than it was. I've got all the flaky bits off that I can, and anything that's left is just, so be it. It's not going to be like factory fresh, is it? So I'm going to treat that now with some crust, and I'll probably leave that and then de-rust the other side and crust that as well. I imagine there's not going to be as much on the other side. So yes, let's crust it up, baby. Right, so that side's been fully smurfed. I shall leave this to dry. So just tidy these up with some fine sandpaper, just to get the deposits off the inside. So these bushes actually came with instructions, although, like for example, trying to get the bush in the housing, it just says put the bush in the housing, which isn't to do with giving you a clue on how to actually get it into the housing, because it's a right pain in the ass. I think I saw on a forum that there is some stuff online. So yeah, go and have a look at the PowerFlex website. I think there might be some better instructions there. So as for this bit, this is the easy bit. You can see possibly that there's like a ridge either side. So look at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You can see it there. That ridge, well, a little trench, is what you line up. You can feel a little ridge on here on the top and the bottom, which is easy enough because it probably won't go on otherwise. So this might not be the best method for doing this, but it's the one that I managed to get to work on the other bush. I did quite a lot of asking on various forums on Facebook, and yeah, thanks for the guys who answered my question. I got quite a variety of answers as normal. So the one I went for was basically putting loads of lube inside the casing and then trying to press the bush into it. I kind of press it in until sort of it starts to twist on one side, starts to go in first, and then I was trying to, as I wind the press in, trying to sort of with this screwdriver trying to lever in the bits of this ridge that are still on the outside. So to do that, the first thing I needed to do was to get this is the smallest threaded bar I've got for my press. Don't know, including the thread, it's probably about 8 or 10 mil, which is bigger than the hole on this. So the first struggle is to just get that through there. So I've got that in, I'm going to wind that in, and then I shall stick the camera on again to show you how I got the other side in. So as you can see, I've put the, what size is that? It's the biggest one I've got. So that's the outside diameter of 82, inside diameter of 72 millimeters. So yes, I've got my vise obviously clamped onto that. I haven't got any cylinder on the top end, I'm just using the disc which you would normally have on the end of the cylinder. So I think someone put a link up to the PowerFlex website, and they said to use washing up liquid to lubricate the casing. Now, I haven't done that. I'm not saying copy me, but I went for some waterproof silicone grease. So yeah, I'm not sure if that, can't see why that'd be a problem, but there we are, that's what I used. Hopefully you can see that that edge there is starting to go into the casing. I'll wind that in a bit more. Ta-da! So the first time I didn't need to put that thinner cylinder in towards the end. It was able to push it through, but for some reason this one didn't quite want to go. But yeah, that cylinder seemed to help at the end. This is the last bush to go in, the one on the front of the wishbone. So hopefully this one's quite straightforward. There it is compared to the old one. So you got these, you have to put a giant washer on either end, and there's the cylinder that goes through the middle. Yeah, so hopefully these are a bit more straightforward. It'd be nice to finish on something a bit easy in terms of the poly bushes. Not sure if I said, but I got all these poly bushes, all the PowerFlex ones from Dino Days. Managed to get all 4 of them just sent as a package. I've obviously done the rear beam ones in the rear end refurb, and then these 2 pairs for the wishbones. And I've just got my anti-roll bar, front anti-roll bar ones to do as well, if the little buggers will come out. Wow, so something was fairly straightforward to do for once. There's a bit of sort of deposit on that side inside the subframe, inside the, let's call it a subframe, which I just got a bit of fine sandpaper just to smooth that off. So yeah, I just lubed up both halves of that just so they slid in a bit easier. You could just do that by hand. Then I lubed up the little metal cylinder with the old PowerFlex lube. Slid it about halfway in by hand, and it was getting a bit tight then, so I thought, sod it, I'll just stick the old bush press tool thing on. So I've just got like a 21mm socket again on this side, and then just sort of like a, don't know, like 24mm socket maybe, and just a cylinder to hold it in place and all the usual gubbins. And that pressed in nice and easy, and that's it. Well, in terms of control arm bushes, it's just the tip of the iceberg though. So one last thing, so the dynamic dampers on the drive shaft, so I managed to reach a new level of stupidity and just film like a sort of 3-minute bit with the camera in selfie mode, so it's just recording the wall behind the camera. So yeah, let's try that again. So I've just slid the dynamic damper back into place. I put some silicone grease on the shaft and then slid it back down. Now this is a state of me. This is just like a proper sweat on from just trying to get that one dynamic damper back in place. I thought once it sort of caught a bit of grease, it would start to slide a bit easier, but no, it was just as difficult as sliding it up to start with. I'm not saying silicone grease is the right way forward, but it's supposed to be repel water. So what I might do afterwards possibly is put like a line of black tiger seal around the top and the bottom and try and completely seal it off to stop any moisture getting in. I think if I could go back in time, I might not move that dynamic damper. I might just look at the shaft and go, yeah, it looks pretty new. I'm just going to put some tiger seal around it to stop any moisture getting in. But you just don't know, do you? It could have just been absolutely rotten underneath the damper. Just don't know. So strangely enough, the front left hand side, that just slid down. I just did it one-handed in about 2 seconds. Strange how that one's so different to the one on the driver's side. So you might get lucky and find that they slide a bit easier for you. So thanks for watching as always, guys. Thanks for Danny at Dino Days for supporting the channel as always. So hopefully that's helped someone, because it's a bit of a ball ache doing that really. I thought replacing those bushes would be fairly easy. I mean the front one's pretty easy, but the rear one on the wishbone is, as you've seen, is a pain in the ass. So yeah, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button, that'd be cool. Chuck a comment down below. Hit the old notifications bell, and I shall see you on the next one, where I think I'm going to be wire brushing the rust and treating the rust and undersealing the front half of the car. So well, looking forward to that one. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.